There was a trade, and I think I was still here, or maybe I wasn't. I like Jalen Waddle, good player. But the Broncos gave up like a first, a third, and I'm like, a first and a third. I'm like that, and I think there was another a fifth maybe, and I'm like, and it feels like it's a Sean Payton move. It's like Sean's like, we're getting him. I've got the juice in the building. Are you worried that Payton maybe has too much influence over personnel and coaching? Did you like the move?
No, because I trust Sean Payton, and I think it's more of an indictment on what the Broncos probably feel about this year's draft class. And you got to remember, too, like when you have a young quarterback, you don't always want to pair him up with a young receiver. It's kind of nice to pair a young quarterback up with a guy that's a proven thing in the NFL. So I actually think this is a good move. And I think I'm probably biased because when I think of Sean Payton, I think of who he and his offense has been when they have that number one receiver where, hey, if you're ever one-on-one with that guy, green light. I'm thinking like Michael Thomas. Like if you're ever by yourself, take it. If not, I got a concept over here where we can play our guys against your guys.
Right.
But if it's ever one-on-one, that really, that's passing game 101. If you can get that with a quarterback that can deliver the ball, you're good. And that's what Sean Payton's done for a long time.
Yeah. I can't believe Colin's questioning this. I mean, what? He was praising Sean Payton last season for going all in on defense, green law, etc. And he's like, that's so Sean Payton. And now this time around he's like, I don't know, giving too much of a first and a third. Yeah, for Jalen Waddle, that's a steal considering the production that you're going to get from him right now. Right now, when you're in the situation that the Broncos are in. Again, this is what's always so fascinating to me about the NFL. There's really truly I was just thinking about this because Colin broke one of his own rules with the JSN signing because he's like, oh, I love it when he said before that he doesn't like to pay receivers top money like this, that the teams that do that don't win. And I'm always thinking about it because Colin has a lot of these rules that he tries to make sense of the world with. And I get it because it's good to have those rules and those structures, but you need to know when to apply them and when to break them, right? When to play by those rules and when to break them. And the whole idea of like when you should go all in to win a Super Bowl, when you shouldn't, when a young quarterback needs you to spend all the money in the world, and sometimes it's just, DRA, like it's just everybody always thinks that you have these set rules that as long as you do this, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, you're good. You're good. You're good. And I find it interesting because it's always a it depends situation right now. And considering where the Broncos are in this moment of time with the Bo Nix Sean Payton experience, so going into year 3 and the success that they've had where they're obviously the number 1 seed just shy of the Super Bowl. You see where they're at. You look around the league. You're looking at the competition. You're looking at the Chiefs. You're looking at the Chargers. You're looking at the Raiders. You're looking at the Raven. You're looking at all the teams you can exchange because really we're just looking at it at a first pick, right? The first round pick, sure, the third, but really the first you're like, can I get an immediate impact player right now? Right now with that first round pick that is going to literally instantly give us an undeniable and uniable measurable boost to win a game in any given moment on any given drive, any given play, any given quarter, literally the most zoomed in you can get for a team. Does Jalen Waddle improve your ability to do that? And it's like, yes. Not to mention, does it help reinforce your quarterback who you haven't paid yet, who's in his 3rd year, and you truly want to figure out just how special this quarterback is? And again, BX is your long-term answer, but like you at this point, you want to make sure because I've talked about this where it's like sometimes you want to go all in on offense and make sure that when you have a young quarterback, you want to do everything you possibly can to support him because you need to figure out who is this quarterback. We need like that was what the line the Bears did when Ben Johnson first got there was just like there was a lot of questions marks about Caleb and it was like whoa, we are doing everything we can offensively. We are giving him everything we possibly can so we can figure out who the heck is this quarterback, and that was really smart. And sometimes, and Danowski talked about this, it's like boost your defense, one of the best things you can do for if, and I think the best thing, and again that's why these rules are always changing for a young quarterback, is get him a great defense, because then he doesn't have to score a lot of points and it makes things easier for him. And it's just like, yeah, that also makes sense, there's no hard and fast all or nothing rules with some of these things, but when you look can see what the Broncos have been able to achieve right now, right? And that's why you can't just like, well, he's a young quarterback on a rookie deal, and it's just like, okay, there's a difference between what the Broncos just achieved last season, what they did last free agency, right? Like that's why you can't just copy-paste, because it's like, well, what year are we in right now? Year 2, year 3. Do we have a great coach? Is the defense legit? How far did we get last SE? Like it's not just, well, you got to do this and there you go, you're done. It's like that's not how it works. And so right now you're like, we were a great team. We were the number 1 team. We have a quarterback up and coming. We need our quarterback to play better, right? Our offense needs to look better, needs to be more resilient, etc., etc. What move can we make that checks all these boxes? The price is right, not only financially, but I believe also from a draft capital standpoint as well. And it gives us a major boost, a major significant boost to not only ensuring that we can be just as competitive, if not more, than we were last season, and we were already the number 1 seed, but then also put ourselves in a position where if you got to play the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship game, you're concerned. You're uncomfortable. You're not like, oh, good. The Broncos made it. Luckily, it wasn't the Bills. Luckily, it wasn't the Raven. It's just like, oh, man. This team is for real. That's what a Jalen Waddle does. Not drafting anyone in the first round. Not certainly where the Broncos were going to be able to draft. So, the move is a no-brainer. It really is. If the Broncos had like the 5th overall pick or something, you get like Jeremiah Love or something like Lemon, then I'm like, okay, I could see maybe don't do that. But it's just like no. And it's a sure thing. And I think right now the Broncos need more of a sure thing. Whereas you can make the argument that some of these other teams, because they're not trying to figure out what are we doing with our quarterback. Again, when I say do what they're doing with your quarterback, all sides ahead are pointing to, Bo Nix and all that, but like you still not only do you want to maximize your quarterback on his rookie deal, but you also just want to be able to build a team where you can see the best version of that quarterback before he signs that contract, so you know exactly what you're signing up for. You don't want to find yourself in this kind of slightly what's the story here, which is what the Packers found with Jordan Love and listen, and it's what apparently Colin was like. I think the Broncos might need to draft a new quarterback, and Colin was ready to move on from Jordan Love. So, it's just like that's why you want to remove any type of a question mark. And again, I don't have a question mark on Jordan Love and I don't have a question mark on Bo Nix, but it's still, technically on a spectrum. I have less question marks about Josh Allen than I do Bo Nix. And I want to get to the point where I see 0 question marks, right? And it's just kind of like, okay, I'm 1000% confident. And a move like this also checks that box as well. And I think it's all important. I think it's all important in this time for the Denver Broncos. So, I don't know why anyone could really question this if the Broncos had the 14th pick and the Broncos, were like the 7 seed or something, and then they get blown out first round and then they do something like this and you're just like, okay, I don't know why, they have a good decent draft pick and, they were good last year but not great, and I think they got a lot of holes they need to fill. Like that's not the situation that they're in right now. They were a legitimate bona fide true top contender last season. One of their biggest issues was the inconsistency in their offense. And now they're adding a bona fide established star wide receiver who will immediately improve this team as a whole and this offense, and a great locker room guy. It is the most no-brainer move you could ever make for a team in this moment of time. I don't like what would you be waiting for? Who could you draft right now that fills and checks all those boxes? I don't know because it doesn't exist. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Denver Broncos? Are you concerned? I didn't know Colin had these, he was concerned, or maybe he was confident in the beginning and now he went on vacation and he started getting a little antsy. Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.